Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we're broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show's Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod. Email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am also on Cash App and Venmo at The Joey Harris. And folks, back again, and today we look at Clash of the Champions 27 from WCW. Clash 27 was shown on TBS on June the 23rd, 1994 from the North Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, South Carolina. Last ever June Clash, as they start to scale back the clashes before eliminating them altogether in 1997. We start out with our intro. Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and Mean Gene Okerlund welcome us to the Clash. They talk about the title unification match and Hulk Hogan arriving in WCW. World Tag Team Championship match, Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack with Dave Sullivan versus the Nasty Boys Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. 2 referees are assigned to this match. Sags and Jack start, and Sags slaps Jack. He beats Jack down in the corner, all 4 men in. Double clothesline to Knobbs and Sags. Another clothesline to Knobbs. Knobbs is in against Jack. Sullivan tagged in. Now all 4 back in. Sullivan gets in the Nasty Boys corner. They hit him, but he snapmares his way out. Jack gets on the top rope, and Sullivan throws him onto the Nasty Boys. Nasty Boys roll out to regroup. Knobbs batters Cactus Jack in the corner. Jack comes back with a clothesline. Sullivan tagged in and works on an arm. Sags and Jack both tagged in, and Jack with a back elbow. He gets a 2 count. Sags drops some knees on Jack. Knobbs and Sullivan both tagged in. Sullivan gouges Knobbs in the corner. Sullivan thrown into the corner. Sags and Knobbs take turns keeping Sullivan down. Sags throws Sullivan to the outside. Knobbs with a double axe handle to Sullivan from the apron. Jack tagged in and cleans house. He bites Sags. He does the over-the-top clothesline. He dives at the Nasty Boys who move, and Jack hits the barricade. Sags hits a belly-to-back suplex to Jack on the floor. Jack moves on a corner charge from Knobbs. Sullivan tagged in. He throws Knobbs outside. Knobbs attacks Dave. Sags also attacks Dave. Jack DDTs Knobbs in the ring and gets the pin. Sags attacks Cactus Jack after the match. Mean Gene talks about the Clash in the WCW hotline. He then brings out Sting. He is fired up. They talk about the title unification match. Sting talks about being a great white shark. That's a weird flex, but okay, I'll allow it. We get a feature on the newly minted Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel versus Tex Slazenger. The bell rings, and they circle each other. They lock up and push off. Another lock up and push off. They lock up and drive to the corner. Angel unloads on Slazenger. He hits the leapfrog body guillotine. He then hits the sidewalk slam to get the pin. Hulk Hogan's limo is shown arriving at the arena. Jimmy Hart and Hulk Hogan are shown getting out of the limo. Jesse Ventura joins Tony on commentary. WCW World Television Championship match. Larry Zbyszko versus Lord Steven Regal with Sir William. Regal and William out first, and Regal has a great coat and powdered wig on. Zbyszko gets a great reception when he comes out. Regal is taking a page out of Zbyszko's book and stalls to begin. Schiavone goes over the history between the two. Regal attacks Zbyszko in the corner with European uppercuts. He beats Zbyszko down. He gets a 2 count, but Zbyszko is in the ropes. He slaps Zbyszko in the corner, and a Larry chant goes out. Zbyszko comes back with a flurry of offense to backdrop Regal to the ramp. Zbyszko brings Regal back in. Regal with a double underhook. Zbyszko counters it. They trade moves. Zbyszko hits a pile driver. Zbyszko attacks Regal. They trade shots. Regal with the cover, but Zbyszko is in the ropes. Regal with a chin lock. He beats Zbyszko in the face as Zbyszko tries to come back. Regal can't get the pin. Zbyszko with a scissor hold. Regal with double knees to Zbyszko. He headbutts Zbyszko and hits him with forearms. Zbyszko with a bear hug. Regal reverses a roll up and holds the ropes to regain the TV title. Mean Gene talks about the bash at the beach. He talks to Dustin Rhodes and Arn Anderson. Rhodes has asked Anderson to be his partner at Bash at the Beach. Anderson says if he accepts, Rhodes is going to have to take the old AA. Rhodes accepts, and they said they will take out Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck. WCW United States Championship match, Steve Austin versus Johnny B. Bad. Bad out first. He is extremely over with the crowd. Austin out, and he and Colonel Parker have decided to go their separate ways, and he has grown a goatee. He keeps getting closer to the Stone Cold look. He slaps Bad. The bell rings. Tony and Jesse keep speculating who sensuous Sherri is going to be with. Bad with a corner whip, and Austin comes back with a back elbow. Austin throws Bad out. They fight to the outside. Bad throws Austin into the apron. Back in. Bad with a wrist lock. They trade moves. Bad with a drop kick and an arm drag. Bad with a top rope clothesline. He gets a front face lock on. He transitions to an arm bar. Austin drives to the corner. Back and forth. Austin slams Bad down by the hair. Austin drops his knees on Bad. Bad with a roll up for a 2 count. Austin with a handful of hair for a 2 count. Bad with a corner whip, and Austin comes back with a back elbow. Austin throws Bad out. They fight to the outside. Bad throws Austin into the apron. Back in. Bad with a wrist lock. They trade moves. Bad with a drop kick and an arm drag. Bad with a top rope clothesline. He gets a front face lock on. He transitions to an arm bar. Austin drives to the corner. Back and forth. Austin slams Bad down by the hair. Austin drops his knees on Bad. Bad with a roll up for a 2 count. Austin with a handful of hair for a 2 count. They trade moves. Bad with a drop kick. He gets a flying head scissors and a DDT on Austin. Bad with a backdrop. Bad with a corner clothesline. He goes up top and gets caught. Bad blocks a superplex attempt and slams Austin to get a 2 count. Austin misses a leapfrog body guillotine. Bad gets a 2 count. Bad with corner mounted punches. Austin hits Bad with a foreign object to get the pin. Referee Randy Anderson comes in to protest, leading Bad to roll Austin up to get the pin, but that's not how any of this works. Bad grabs the belt. Austin is arguing with Anderson and Patrick. Mean Gene brings out Hulk Hogan, who comes out with Jimmy Hart. He gets a respectable ovation, but it isn't as overwhelming as they want you to believe. He's excited to be in WCW. He talks about the unification match. He says he has to ask himself if he is the greatest, and he wants to face the winner. He gets interrupted by Ric Flair on the video wall. Flair says he is going to win. Hogan says he and Flair are going to clash at some point. Bobby rejoins Tony on commentary. Shaquille O'Neal talks about Hulk Hogan coming to WCW. WCW title unification match. WCW World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair versus WCW International World Champion Sting. Flair out first. Sting out to a huge ovation. Michael Buffer makes the introductions. Just before the match begins, sensuous Sherri comes down, and she has Sting's face paint on. I think they tipped their hand a little too much here. The bell rings and Sting shoves Flair down twice. Flair shakes it off. They trade moves. Flair with a hammerlock. They trade moves again. Flair rolls out to regroup. Sting with a press slam, and it has been all Sting so far. He rolls out again and screams at the crowd. They lock up. Sting with a wrist lock. Flair with chops. Sting comes back with a flurry of offense that drives Flair back out of the ring. Flair comes in and attacks Sting. He punches Sting in the corner. Sting comes out of the corner and attacks Flair. He misses a drop kick, and Flair goes for the figure 4. Sting gets a roll up for a 2 count. Flair is visibly frustrated. The crowd chants Sting. Sting misses a Stinger splash when Flair moves. Flair throws Sting out when referee Randy Anderson wasn't looking. Flair attacks Sting on the outside. Sherri tells Sting to get up and fight. Flair gets Sting in and drops to his knee. He does it again. He covers Sting with a series of 2 counts with his foot on the ropes. Flair with a belly-to-back suplex. Flair hits a back elbow. Flair gets the sleeper on. Sting is fading. Sting drops forward and runs Flair into the ring post. He catapults Flair into the corner. Both men down. Sting suplexes Flair in from the apron for a 2 count. Flair sent up and over in the corner and clotheslined from the apron, so take a shot if you're drinking at home. Sting with corner-mounted punches. Sting gets a 2 count. Sting hits a superplex. He goes up top, but misses a splash attempt. Flair with a suplex. Sting back to his feet. He hits a press slam. Flair spills outside. Sting goes for a suicide dive, and Flair pulls Sherri in front of him, and she takes the hit. They get back in, and Sting gets a backslide for a 2 count. Sherri gets on the apron, and Sting checks on her. Flair rolls him up from behind and gets the pin with a handful of tights. Flair becomes the unified champion. Sherri gets in the ring and hugs Flair. They then attack Sting. They throw Anderson out. Hulk Hogan comes out to help Sting. He attacks Flair. Sherri slaps Hogan. Flair and Sherri bail. Hogan and Jimmy Hart check on Sting. Mean Gene interviews Hogan. He says he has his sights set on Ric Flair and wants to face him. They then sign off from Charleston. Final thoughts. Hogan signing and appearing on WCW was big time. The wrestling world is changing. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.